You are listening to the Atheist Antidote Show. And now, your host, Brock Lowley.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brock Lowley. This is the Atheist Antidote Podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you a theory, and I believe it was Dennis Prager where I first ingested this. It is a wise and beneficial thing to put legs on, and I want to try to do it. And that is, I think he called it the missing tile syndrome. I believe that's what it was. I could have read this, or I think it was him. I wanted to make sure to give intellectual credit. But essentially what this theory is that if you're looking up at a ceiling, and let's call it the most ornate, beautiful, imported marble ceiling you've ever seen. You know, something some Middle Eastern dictator awash in oil money would buy for himself. Whatever. Just paint yourself a picture mentally. If in that ceiling there was one tile missing, one tile, and it could be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tiles, if there were one tile missing on that ornate, lavish ceiling, where would your eyes go? Where would your eyes immediately focus? The missing tile, right? Despite the fact that there is ornate beauty all around that missing tile, everywhere else except for that missing tile is essentially ceiling perfection. You're going to notice the missing tile. And the theory goes like this. That's what we do with ourselves. That's what we do with our relationships. That's what we do with our lives. We find the thing that's discontented. We find the things that we don't like. We find the things that we want to change, obviously, be it our physical appearance or our livelihood or our relationships or whatever you want to plug into this equation. And where we look is the missing tile. That's all we see. It's true, isn't it? I know it's true in my life. I don't like that it's true. But if I'm intellectually honest, it's extremely true. And of course, I think you can make a case that the missing tile syndrome is the downfall of so much joy, so much happiness, so much contentment. Certainly relationship disaster can be attributed to this. I'll give you an example. When I was in the Air Force, I'd meet guy after guy after guy, and the military has a huge, disproportional divorce rate, with 70% or something like that. And time after time after time, these guys would tell me, I wish I'd never divorced my first wife. That's the one I really loved. And these guys would be like on their fourth marriage. And what they proceeded to tell me after that was, well, it wasn't perfect. We hit some problems, so we both pulled the ripcord and we were out. But turns out I marry another girl and there's just new problems, And now I already am in the habit of pulling the ripcord, so I'm out. Now I got a new girl, new problems, new girl, new problems. Missing tile syndrome. They're just looking at the missing tiles. Well, these men are telling me it turns out it was their first wife that they really loved, probably because they were young, and you all know the trappings of that. But the point isn't that. The point is that that's just one example. That's a relationship example. But there's a million. Professionally, our families. What you got to force yourself to do is look at the rest of the ceiling and count it a blessing. Now, that might sound cheesy. Might even sound self-helpish. But I can tell you what, if for the next week you do it, you're going to be a happier human being. Thank you for listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.
You are listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.